Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a lifestyle channel, a lot about weight loss surgery, a lot about being a mom. But today I'm going to be talking to you specifically about my weight loss surgery. I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy on September 14th of 2020, and I wanted to explain to you all how I got to the place where weight loss surgery was the best option for me. And I'm sure a lot of you will have parallel experiences to mine, and I hope that this video can help you decide whether or not it's in the best interest for you and your health to have VSG surgery or any kind of gastric bypass. And my new kitten is walking around, so just be prepared. I don't like her on the table. Okay, so I want to start by saying I've always been overweight. This is something that I've struggled with my entire life. My weight has been a battling thing for me since I can remember. I specifically remember being overweight in the second grade. Like, all of my girlfriends and my friends were tiny and I wasn't. So I don't really ever recall a time in, a time where I didn't feel insecure or overweight with my body. I wrote notes too, sorry. So I'm not one of those people who is gonna tell you that, oh, I was so skinny in high school and then I gained all this weight after kids. Like, obviously I gained weight after kids, but that's not my story. That's not how I got here. I've always been somebody that has struggled with obesity their entire life. I, from a young age, would hide food. Like, people will talk about this all the time. Like, they'll be at my house and they'll open my sock drawer and I had candy bars and chips and things like that. I think one thing in my childhood that I'm sure a lot of you experienced is my mom was not overweight, and me and my brother were, but my brother was able to get his under control in high school, so he didn't really struggle like I did. But she didn't understand willpower and the fact that that wasn't something that I had. So she would buy lots of junk food for the house because we had a ton of friends over all the time. We were a very social house, so she would buy things like chips and cookies and candy and things where I specifically would be young and ask her please don't buy that because I'll eat it all. And she would be like, oh, but so-and-so likes it and we need to have it. And I don't blame my mom for my weight, but I do think that as a mom now, I would be conscious of that with my kids. If they were, if something triggered them to overeat, I probably wouldn't put that in my house. That's just something that I've learned along the way. So, like I said, from a young age, I was hiding food, and I was getting up in the middle of the night and going to the kitchen to get things bad things, puddings and ice creams and stuff, and sneaking it essentially. So I was hoarding it in my room, and I was a closet eater is what I like to call it. Food was a focal point in my life. I mean, it always has been. From a young age, like I said, we were a very social house. My dad, they would have people over. My parents were business owners, so and one of them was a restaurant and a bar, and so a lot of times we would go to the restaurant, and I would be like, oh, I just want a personal pan pizza, and here would come an extra large pizza. My dad is the kindest soul in the world, but when you ask for one thing, he would bring 10. So that's something too that I never really learned was moderation. I really do remember there was a special on double cheeseburgers one time at Hardee's. I think some people call it Carl's Jr.'s. I was in the 5th grade, and I was I'll have a double cheeseburger. And we ended up with 2 sacks of double cheeseburgers. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And my brother was overweight too, so he ate a lot of them. And it's just not something that we were taught. Moderation is not something that we were taught. I took comfort in food. Fast forwarding when my parents got divorced, that's when we would see my dad. My parents got divorced when I was way older, after college. But, we would go out to eat with him, or eating is a very big part of my existence. Family gatherings, tons of food, just became a source of comfort for me. So I I really saw it as like a friend, and then eventually it turned into an enemy for me. So around 6th grade, I remember binge eating. I remember like food never affected my social life except for boyfriends. So I always was popular or like had a good group of friends. Like I was never made fun of for my weight. I was never like tormented or anything. I mean, I did that to myself. My friends didn't really do that to me. I mean, I'm sure they made comments and stuff, but it wasn't enough for me to like remember being bullied about it. But I don't know where I was going. Hold on. But I remember overeating a lot, like, you know, the double cheeseburger thing, the pizzas. Like, even though I only wanted one double cheeseburger, there was 15 in front of me. It's like having chips and dip at a Mexican restaurant. Like, you go to town when it's there, you know, and nobody's telling you to stop. Like, you know, everybody around you loves you and they don't want to say anything to you. So you're in 6th grade just like pounding double cheeseburgers, and nobody's they're enabling you essentially. So I turned to throwing up. So I became bulimic in 6th grade. I can't even fathom the thought of doing that in 6th grade, but I did. I actually had no idea what I was doing. I'm not gonna, I mean, I can do a different video on eating disorders and things like that, but I was bulimic for a very long time, and I would compulsively overeat and then throw up all my food. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I was very good at keeping it a secret. But again, I don't want to share that because I don't want people to be enabled by me telling you what I did. But I was bulimic for a very long time. So I struggled with binge eating and overeating. And in high school, I started this diet called the Atkins diet, which I'm sure many of you on your journeys have tried. And I lost a ton of weight. I kid you not, you guys, I was eating like double cheeseburgers with no bun in the morning and like steak in the morning. Like, times have changed, but when I was in high school, we would party pretty hard and go to people's houses. Normally we were at my house partying, but we would party pretty hard. And my girlfriends are always like, I specifically remember coming home, we were like 17, and you'd throw a steak on the George Foreman. But I was losing so much weight, like so much weight. So the thing about the Atkins diet that I like genuinely loved was that I wasn't limited to like what I was eating. So it helped me not throw up because I literally could eat anything that was low carb, and there was like no moderation. So I was just eating and eating and eating. And I was losing weight. I dropped like 75 pounds my junior year of high school doing that. And I kept I kept a lot of it off when I stopped, but not all of it. Like, I bet I gained 25, 30 pounds back. But I tried everything. So like before that I was doing like Weight Watchers, 21-day fix, like literally any diet you could think of I was doing, and I wasn't able to stick to it because you had to limit yourself. And Atkins and low carb allowed me a lifestyle where I could binge and lose weight. So I really found it to be successful for me in the weight loss area. However, I was feeling so unhealthy. I was like super active. Like I said, my weight never really held me back. Like, I made cheerleading in high school. Like, somebody gave me a shot and I became the captain. I cheered at the Macy's Day Parade. Like, it's never really held me back from trying things I really want to do when I was in high school and younger. At that point, I was probably like a size 16, but I don't really know. I remember my lowest weight on Atkins, like my lowest weight was 165 when I was on Atkins. So 165 was my lowest in high school, but I didn't get over 200, I don't think, until later in life. Anyway, so I remember my mom would get People magazine in the mail, and she'd like leave it in her bathroom for when she's taking a poop. And the cover story on one of the People magazines right around my high school graduation was one of the Olsen twins was in rehab for an eating disorder. And I was like reading it and I'm like, holy crap, like that's what I have. I think she was anorexic, but they were obviously like explaining other types of eating disorders. And I was like, wait, you can go places and like get treatment for that? Like I was shocked. So nobody in my family knew that I was battling this eating disorder or battling my weight internally. Like nobody knew that I was like struggling because I kept it kind of like personal to myself and I didn't let my weight affect me. So how would they know? I wasn't talking about it. So I remember on graduation, high school graduation, one of my best friends, he came out as gay and I told my friends I had an eating disorder and I was gonna go get help for it. And they were like flabbergasted. And I think even my mom, because I told her too, I think my friends and my family and everybody was like, how can you be overweight and be bulimic? Like that doesn't make sense. And so like I said, I'll probably do another video on eating disorders, but I was overweight and bulimic, but most importantly, I wanted to treat my brain. Like I wanted my brain to get help because I wasn't thinking the way other people were thinking. Like I would literally go to the drive-thru and act like somebody else was in the car when I made my order. I would get cakes at the grocery store and put like happy birthday mom or dad on there. And I knew I was coming home to eat that whole cake. Like I did this to myself. Like I hurt my body that much. Like I put myself through it. And I guarantee you somebody watching this is saying I did the same thing. So it does get better, I promise. So after high school, right before college, I went and checked myself into a rehab facility specific for eating disorders in California. And I was supposed to be there 8 weeks, but I really wanted to start college. So I did a 6-week like fast track program. And even though I don't think I gave myself enough time to really focus on the mental capacity of what I was doing to myself, I do think that any help is better than no help. And it really did help me get my brain right and understand why I was doing the things I was doing. So they classified me as an overeater, a binge disorder, and bulimic, and treated me for all of that. And I definitely felt a lot better after I got treatment for that. And I won't say that my eating disorder never popped up again, because it did, and it still does, but it is something that I have the capacity to deal with now because I have had that 6 weeks of that program. Okay, because I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not allowed to go over 15 minutes on a video. So if you're interested in hearing more about my story, go watch part 2. It is posted as well.